Hiya guys, welcome to the channel. In 2007, David Miliband, on behalf of Gordon Brown, signed the Lisbon Treaty. This treaty hands over everything to the EU. We were promised a referendum on this that never materialised.
In 2005, all of the major political parties promised a referendum on the European Constitution. Why does this matter? Why do we need a referendum? And why do we need one now? First, why this matters. The European Constitution, now called the Lisbon Treaty, includes a massive transfer of powers from the nation-states of Europe to Brussels. It ends our veto, our right to say no, in about 60 areas. It sets up a permanent president of the European Union, a foreign minister, a diplomatic service. It gives the European Union the right to sign treaties and to pass new treaties, new constitutions, without asking us again, the people of Europe. Why do we need a referendum? Well, I think when our Parliament is giving up powers, is passing powers to someone else, they should ask us first, the people, in a referendum. So you can use June the 4th, this Thursday, the European elections, to demand a referendum from Gordon Brown. The referendum he promised, along with everyone else, back in 2005. The best way to get that referendum is to vote Conservative. Don't you think all of us should have a say in the referendum that we were promised?
And this is what the Lisbon Treaty entails. 1. UK, along with existing members of the EU, lose their abstention veto in 2020 as laid down by the Lisbon Treaty. 2. All member nations will become states of a new federal nation of the EU by 2020, with no exceptions or vetoes. So Dave, what does this mean?
It ends our veto, our right to say no, a massive transfer of powers.
3. All member states must adopt the euro by 2022, and all new member states must do so within 2 years of joining the EU. 4. The London Stock Exchange will move to Frankfurt by 2020 and will be integrated into the EU Stock Exchange, resulting in a loss of 200,000 jobs in the UK. Dave, can we stop this?
No, it ends our right to say no, a massive transfer of powers.
This has already been pre-agreed, but been put on hold until Brexit negotiations have been dealt with. 5. The EU Parliament and the ECJ become supreme over all legislative bodies. 6. The UK will adopt 100% of whatever the EU Parliament or the ECJ lays down without any means of abstention or veto, negating the need for the UK to have Lords or even Commons. This is starting to sound like a treaty written by fascists. What do you think, Dave?
I think when our right to say no, our Parliament is giving up powers, is passing powers to someone else, they should ask us first, the people.
7. The UK will not be able to make its own trade deals. 8. The UK will not be able to set its own trade tariffs. 9. The UK will not be able to set its own trade quotas. 10. The UK loses control of its fishing rights. 11. The UK loses control of oil and gas rights. So Dave, tell people what this means.
A massive transfer of powers.
A massive transfer of powers and assets too. It sounds like the EU will be taking over our assets. 12. The UK loses control of all its borders and enters the Schengen region by 2022. Dave, how can they do this?
It gives the European Union the right to sign treaties and to pass new treaties, new constitutions, without asking us again. It ends our right to say no.
This means we will be open to mass immigration. Now, I believe in immigration, but I believe in the right kind of immigration. Like an Australian points immigration policy, we have thousands of people on our streets. We need to look after them first. 13. The UK loses control of its planning legislation. I think people are starting to get it. It is
a massive transfer of powers.
Yes, that's it, Dave. If you want a lovely new extension on your house, you'll have to get on the phone to Brussels and ask permission. Ridiculous. 14. The UK loses control of its armed forces, including its nuclear deterrent. Can we stop this, Dave?
The Lisbon Treaty. It ends our right to say no.
Guessing the EU weren't fond of Maggie's no, no, no speech. Link in description. Anyone still disputing the formation of an EU army? What does this tell you? And the EU will take our nuclear deterrent, which I don't believe in nuclear weapons, unless they are only used as deterrents, so never used. 15. The UK loses full control of its taxation policy. 16. The UK loses its ability to create its own laws and to implement them. So, with Frankfurt now being given control of our finances, we have no control of our borders, money, fishing, defence and deterrence, the North Sea, for oil and gas. After all this, we won't be able to make our own laws, Dave?
No.
And the EU will be able to up our tax as they see fit. So basically, the Lisbon Treaty is...
The Lisbon Treaty is passing powers to Brussels.
Thanks, Dave. 17. The UK loses its standing in the Commonwealth. 18. The UK loses control of any provinces or affiliated nations. For example, Falklands, Gibraltar, and the Cayman Islands. Yes, once the EU have their grip around us, we won't be allowed to have allies, will we, Dave?
No.
19. The UK loses control of its judicial system. From personal experience, we have already lost control. But that's a different story. 20. The UK loses control of its internal policy. 21. The UK loses full control of its national policy. This means we are ruled over completely by the unelected bureaucrats of the EU, and they will control our country's future and fate. Tell the people why this is, Dave.
The Lisbon Treaty. It ends our right to say no.
That's correct, Dave. 22. The UK loses the right to call itself a nation in its own right.
Massive transfer of powers to Brussels.
Yes, Dave. Thank you. You are now a federal member of the EU.
A massive transfer of powers to Brussels.
23. The UK loses control of its space exploration programme. Another of the UK's businesses gone, making more people unemployed. Who is to blame, Dave?
The European Union.
24. The UK loses control of its aviation and sea lane jurisdiction. So, at any point, the EU can stop anything entering or leaving the UK. Why is this, Dave?
The European Union. A massive transfer of powers, the Lisbon Treaty. It ends our right to say no.
25. The UK loses its rebate in the 2020 as laid down in the Lisbon Treaty. 26. The UK's contribution to the EU is set to increase by an average of 1.2 billion per annum and by 2.3 billion per annum by 2020. Dave, can we not refuse to give them the ridiculous sums of money?
No, the Lisbon Treaty. It ends our right to say no.
Oh yeah, Dave. Plus the...
Massive transfer of powers.
Yes, Dave. Thank you. The European Union will already have control of the UK's borders, sea and flight paths, oil and gas, fishing, defence and deterrence, laws and money. And
the Lisbon Treaty. It ends our right to say no.
Pipe down, Dave. We all know what way you went. This is the future these Remainers are fighting for. Seriously, how many people would have voted for this had it been put to the people?
No, no, no.
Our future has been signed away. After giving up so much, this is what we get in return. The euro, a failing currency. Mass immigration, which ends up leading to even more homelessness. Bit by bit, our rights disappear in this treaty. There is a quote that relates, I think. It goes, "The best way to take control over a people and to control them utterly is to take a little of their freedom at a time, to erode rights by 1,000 tiny and imperceptible reductions. In this way, the people will not see those rights and freedoms being removed until past the point at which changes cannot be reversed." Adolf Hitler, Mein Kampf.
The Lisbon Treaty. It ends our right to say no.
Well, fuck you, Hitler. Fuck you, the fascists of the EU. We don't want you running our lives or future. We are the United Kingdom and are better off without the Lisbon Treaty. Remainers, wake up. They are back. Please leave a like and share. Wake some people up.